Hi, listeners. Today, thank you for joining. And today I'm again with Jay, and we have a special topic. Was actually continuation what we talked a couple of weeks ago. But he wants to make also from an announcement. He's doing some campaign for his. Yeah, you. It's up to you to explain what you're actually doing.
Oh yeah, so right now we are launching a 30-day interview challenge where, the goal is to help people get 1 to 3 interviews every week as part of their job search. This is particularly for someone who's been struggling with applying online. They've been searching for a job, applying online, not getting any responses, not getting any calls or any interviews. And we're going to show them how to stand out to recruiters and companies to be able to get those interviews, and we're going to be dropping a training every single day to target a different aspect of the job search to show them better ways for how they can stand out with the companies, but also how to do outreach. And this is something particularly difficult for introverts, are a bit, on the analytical side, get in your head so many times when you're trying to do outreach. So we're going to show them how to remove all that tension from this process and, and get people um, going, and make it more effortless for them to get those interviews.
Okay, so just share with me the content. I'm happy to spread it out to my channels and also in the description of this podcast. Okay, and you're saying you start after Easter, so next week.
Yeah, it's starting on the 1st of April. It's not April Fools. This is no lie.
All
It
right.
does it does sound too good to be true because it's like 800% less than what I usually charge for my training, so but I wanted to make this super affordable, super accessible. So we're launching it on the 1st of April and it's gonna go for 30 days.
Okay, so that's this announcement, and I'm happy to share this. So now let's go to the next topic. So we had some interesting feedback of people, but but you have to tell me. You sent me a voice message from someone. I don't know who that person is, but it sounds very interesting. You can maybe shed more some light who that person is, because you said, "Oh, I want to really know what man's thinking and what they're going through." Seemed very interesting.
Yeah.
But she had
This
also
one,
some, yeah, but she had also something with you. Said, I don't agree what you're saying, but other,
yeah, this girl is a special one because
are they
I
not
don't
all special ones?
no, I don't think so. I don't think all women are special. Because like it's hard to come across someone these days who is like plugged in and curious about learning about human nature and relationships and masculinity and feminine energy as well. So, she's someone I've been talking to for about 2 years now. We met on Instagram, but from the get-go, our conversations were deep and, not really like service level or banter. So we connected and had a lot of things in common. A few things, actually. But yeah, we hit it off and uh when I came to Lebanon, we started seeing each other. So yeah, what I really like about her is that she's curious, she's always open to learn and she appreciates the journey of self-improvement and self-development, but particularly from a spiritual perspective. And this is a big one because, I feel right now with the whole woke movement, many people are trying to make men and women more the same, and like, oh, you can't say, you know, the man has a role and the woman has a role. You can't say this stuff. They are not different. They are the same. They have to be equal. Yes, they have to be equal, but a lot of people are confusing equality with proximity or like being the same. And this is kind of blurring the lines between men and women.
Yeah,
So it's important to, you know, to kind of stay aware of the role of a man. And, you know, I believe men have a responsibility nowadays to be leaders, to be more proactive in thinking about how they choose their partner and how they attract women and how they grow in life in general as well.
okay, you have to elaborate because you mentioned it again, this woke movement. So maybe not everyone is familiar with that. So please, can you elaborate on the woke movement?
The
Because
woke movement.
yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. So the woke move by the woke movement, I mean like, you know, everyone who's like progressive thinking, like the Disney movies. I was watching this reel today about this cartoon TV show for kids that basically says, "Oh, I'm gonna call my friend, and I'm not gonna say him or her. I will just use they and them because that feels more comfortable to me, you know? That is the woke movement, basically, you know, where you've got the pronouns and you got like it's taboo and wrong to speak about sexuality or like the differences between men and women, uh, um, you know, polarity or anything that's polarizing. Um, yeah, it's mostly around the topics of relationships, but it leaks out into other aspects of life, especially in corporate companies. Like you can't say shit these days. You know, in my last job, I once made a joke about White Russian, which is like a drink. Um, and then my manager was like, "Oh, you can't say white Russian because, you know, it's like white, you know, it's like a racial thing." But it was obviously about the drink. But, you know, this is the kind of stuff that you get in corporate America.
yes.
Uh, this is one of the reasons why I quit that job, actually. So,
I mean, it sounds to me like, I mean, you can't say Merry Christmas because not maybe people get offended and
yeah,
every
yeah,
and
you have to say happy holiday, you know?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And now I understand what you mean because I experienced that and I hate it also. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I didn't know that it goes even now in, in over to the relationship between men and women. I know only that in the corporate world, in the office world, that there was this Me Too movement, and there was a lot of now they're very sensible with how men behave, how behave to women in the working world, right? And there's again a big scandal in the Formula One where someone did inappropriate things, but we don't even know what it was. But so yeah, and that comes back that actually men getting confused. I mean,
absolutely.
if they get brainwashed, and I'm just saying this now very strongly,
Yeah,
then then they became they're not sure anymore. I mean, and I still we
yeah.
have this before. I still think that the man has a role to be a leader. I mean, and also that's what women are looking for. And
Very true.
and and I mean, you made this experience, and even I made this experience where I not maybe was the leader, and then this relationship didn't last. So if I come in the next situation, then I definitely will learn from that and take more on a role like what you described. The man is the mountain, the man is the rock, right?
Yeah, exactly. And um, you know, basically it's a hard time for men in the West because it has become so bad to the extent of bullying, you know, and I'm sure a lot of this is an interesting topic for me. So to me, it's like general knowledge, you know, it's like common knowledge about these things. Maybe you haven't been plugged into that, but basically, you know, a lot of people come out and make it out to be bad to be a man, like to be a masculine person. It's not a good thing. Like, you know, you gotta apologize for being masculine or being strong or saying strong things or saying you know, being upfront or being direct. Anything like this, you have to apologize for. And it's become t- so controlling to the level of bullying even, you know, and I've experienced this firsthand, like when I was in London, in a group of people, if I'm talking about something that expresses the way I think, they'll be like, oh, you can't say that, like, you know, a bunch of women will jump and be all over, you know, jump on your throat, and they'll be like, oh, how could you say that? And they will make you feel like a social pariah and get you shunned basically for something that you said that
Okay,
doesn't go with their
but
beliefs.
but this is again this Anglo-Saxon thing, right? I mean, you worked in London and all what you described. I mean, I have seen that in the States and in Canada, right? But on the other side, I met now someone, man, who is an Italian from where he
Uh,
comes from, and he was going after every woman. I mean, this was so interesting to see this. And then when I talked with some of this, or with one of them, he said, "But that's like Italian. That's what they're doing, right? So they're all charming and you know." Anyway, so that showed me also, okay, I'm not like this,
yeah.
but I I talked also with a lot of people, new people in the last weeks. So
Yeah, and I'm not bashing like women, you know, obviously, like I don't have to defend that, and it's never a good idea to generalize. There's, you know, there's male and female members of the woke movement, you know, it's and sometimes maybe even the men are do worse damage than the women. So yeah, like
that,
we uh we used to joke like, you know, men are so much better than women even with the bad things. But I know that's bullshit. Yeah, there's you know, there's like from both sides. It's not just like women or men who are doing this, but it's just the general way of thinking and the mentality that's become very toxic and very prohibitive to men, I would say, making them feel ashamed of masculinity, talking about toxic masculinity and things like this. So yeah, it's a big responsibility for men in the West. Like we have to be consciously aware of our role and what we need to do to be able to become leaders, to become providers, look after ourselves, our like the people we care about. I'm not going to say family. I'm not going to push like the family values on anyone, but the people we care about, and also consciously choosing our partners. Like I've already mentioned that, but I think a lot of men go into relationships just because they are happening to them. Like, hey, this person happens to be there. She seems nice. I'm just going to go into a relationship with her without even thinking about like whether she's a good fit or not, whether she's you know, she could be good for them, um and they can grow together or something like this. So it's just pretty random. And this was me in my 20s basically, which I ended up learning so much lessons from those experiences. But yeah, that's really the idea.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's wrong to start a relationship. I mean, you see already the teenagers starting the stuff,
Yeah.
right? Especially here in Spain, where everything is open. I haven't seen that anywhere else like this, right? But even the older people showing their passion, showing their affection, right?
Yeah, they love PDA in Spain.
Yeah. So, but this is one thing. But I want to say also, yeah, I mean, if you then get in this kind of relationship like us, then maybe in the next one, then we have to be more conscious and say it has to be someone, like I can only talk for my case right now, who is with someone I can have deep conversation. That's something, and also have this connection, right? In a way, right? So it's not afraid of the lifestyle I'm doing right now, because it's like, and yeah, so, and I say, I mean, that's like have the wants and the needs, and then if they get also understand the other sides, and if they're fulfilled, then we have something, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's not wrong to be spontaneous and just get into a relationship this way. Um, there's always lessons learned, and I'm only saying this because I've been stung in toxic relationships, so that's why now for me it's important to like choose the people I spend time with consciously and know, okay, like what am I looking for in a girl romantically, like someone I want to date. Um, yeah, and I want to be inclusive here. This is not just about like men and plus women, like men X woman in a relationship. This could be anyone who's choosing a partner, whether you're a gay person, you're a lesbian, or whatever. Um,
But
for me, it's just about thinking about like how the people you get romantically involved with. I say this because I've been stung in toxic relationships, but maybe someone who's getting started on that journey, they need to learn, like they need to go through the sucky parts so they can learn and becomes more useful to them. So, yeah.
but not everyone want to go through this, and maybe instead to go through this kind of experience, then maybe think about it beforehand,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And and also, yeah, I mean, for me, and I can again talk everyone. I'm starting now something where I really make very patient, and I do not full in, so very small steps, and see by every step how it goes. I think that's for me where I am right now, the right approach. And then you will see what comes out of it, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah, no, I agree. Um not everyone have to experience those things and has to have like a turbulent relationship history. It really depends on the home that you come from, you know? Um, it depends on the environment that you come from, because if you come from a place where you didn't have a good example of a healthy relationship, you are more likely to have a turbulent relationship path. But yeah, if you come from a household where you have like a nuclear relationship, you got a good model, your parents love each other, then you are likely to know how to choose a partner. It's different. It's a spectrum, right? And it's different for each person. So yeah, but it's certainly not the general rule for everyone.
also, I mean, my situation, I don't think it's makes good sense to be totally desperate, because that destroys maybe your activity, right? And I had to
Yeah.
learn to really start not to put someone on the pedestal what I've done before, and and really say, okay, we are both on the pedestal, and this has to be different. And it's also, the more I found in myself and understand things I have done and where they're coming from. I'm still struggling with this because, as I said in the other podcast, I I saw something very nice, and I was really liked it to go further, but then I was afraid of it. But now I'm starting again to throw this fear away and said, let's go for it and try it out. What I have to lose? Nothing. I mean, and if it, yeah, so that's my situation. And it's also the right timing. Maybe I needed that time to understand more about myself, to be now ready to go there and meet that person again. And it's amazing that we still have contact. I mean, I've seen other things in the past, but I mean, yeah. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I used to have this stink of desperation. I call it the stink of desperation. Because when you're come into the relationship uh, uh landscape and you're like, I just want a girlfriend, or I just want a boyfriend, I just want someone in my life, or I'm looking, I want to get laid. I think yeah, well, I speak from my experience. Like back, when I was at the peak of my divorce, I was feeling so lonely. I went into this monk mode for a while, not talking to women, barely hanging out with friends. And, I still have that need to be with someone, right? Like I had the need, and obviously the desire, the sexual desire as well. And I was so freaking, deprived on that front that it just showed, it was visible. And and when you come out with this kind of energy, it's like the stink of desperation. It shows, like people feel it, especially women. If you're a man, women will pick up on that for sure before talking to you, probably before even seeing you. They will pick up on that kind of energy. But it's also true for the other type of energy, which is the energy of attractiveness, and the energy of like being a man who's totally fine by himself, who is, approaching things as a provider, as someone who is totally fine by himself, but would like to get people into his life, bring people into his life to share those nice experiences and share the fun. And that's been really the journey that I've had to take. It's crazy because you just made me think about that chapter of my life where I had the stink of desperation, and I was wondering like why the fuck isn't anything working for me, you know?
Right?
And always thinking in my head, I was crippled by cravings and desire. And I think I'm going deep here into the spiritual realm, but but
No, that's
that was,
good.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was, cravings and those sort of things were a huge thing for me. I remember now, like I used to be in my head so many times when I go into the train in London, and I'm thinking all these thoughts like, why am I alone? Uh, Look at this person. Uh, yeah, you know what? I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone, but I don't care. Like, I want to be open and transparent. So. I just, yeah, I would look at people and start thinking like, why do they get to live their lives this way? Why is my life this way? Just puts you in such a dark mental state. Like if you have all these like unproductive thoughts in your mind, how do you think you're gonna show up in the real world, you know? Um, so that was really, I was riddled by these kinds of thoughts, and this made it so hard for me to attract women and be socially successful. um but yeah, working with my dating coach, coupled with meditation and things like that, this really helped me get out of that space. And
yeah, but here's the question: what
yeah.
helped you actually out? I mean, I I know I can feel with this because I was in similar situation, but it's again finding yourself, saying the more you find yourself, the more authentic you are, And
Yeah.
I have seen this, that now I radiate some other frequency or other energy, and then suddenly I can be myself, and I have all this connection with people in a totally different way. And that happened maybe since a
Yeah.
year or even longer. And it is also in which state you are that attracts people to you. I totally believe in this because I see now that I meet other people than last year or even the year before. Right? And that's something I put back on, that I grow myself and put me in a different, the way I act or radiate some energy, because otherwise it wouldn't happen that way. And maybe that's supposed to be all this, I don't know, call it suffering or that experience, maybe not, maybe that had to happen to be ready for the work, right? But I still believe in this. I still believe in this. Then if not, no, but at this time I only want to have to sell them because I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that happens, could hold certain learnings. But yeah, what really was a game changer for me is authenticity. And I think you touched on that, like just showing up as yourself, not
Right.
overthinking. Um, this was a game changer for me. Um, so I felt like there was certain aspects of my personality that I had to hide, and it put me in such a I didn't know that was going on, it's just something that I got used to for so long. Uh, but you get it yourself, like finding yourself, but the journey of finding yourself is really dependent on finding your tribe as well. Finding the people who accept you as you are is a very critical step in being able to find yourself, because if you don't have anyone around you who validates who you are as you are, it's gonna be, you will always think that you don't belong, and you just need to change. And that's not a very good, pleasant existence. Um, so for me, it was like a step-by-step process to become more authentic, say what's on my mind, be more direct. And this is how you attract your tribe. Actually, for me, this started to show that, okay, some people really hate me and they can't stand being around me, and I'm okay with that. But also other people really love being with me and hanging out with me, and that's really my tribe. So it's kind of a filter. As you become more authentic, you are able to filter through the people as well, like who is worth having in your life and who just doesn't have any value, so for you. So yeah.
It's so funny because like the other week, I met something. There was a week very important, but she had also some problems to understand. Like my family, when I explain the lifestyle I'm living now, they can't grasp with this. But that I don't care. I mean, and the point is, as you said, I met also other people who like this. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. Then that's my tribe. And sorry, the people who don't get it, then they don't get it. I don't want to waste my time to explain that. Right? But that's okay. I mean, that's where I came
Yeah.
from and where I went. I mean, the point is, I came from a small town. There was people think more conservative, but now I saw the world, and that changed me as a person. I speak multiple languages, so yeah, so that's the situation, right? And it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. So everyone has to find this authenticity, and that's me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, so that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a challenging path. It's not as straightforward as it sounds because you always have to balance like, okay, how can I be honest and direct, but also not be incompassionate to people, like and hurt people's feelings. And this is something I used to talk to my coach about, like, okay, but I want to be direct, but what if my directness hurts other people's feelings, right? So you got to be able to differentiate between someone who just gets offended for no reason and in other cases where you genuinely say something that hurts them. So typically if it's, if like you have an opinion or a thought and you want to say it, as long as it's from a place of compassion and kindness, you are free to say it, you know? As long as it doesn't bash a specific group of people or like a person in particular, you are free to say that opinion, and it doesn't matter if someone gets offended or not. That's your thought, that's your opinion. So that's been the rule that I worked with, but it takes a lot of trial and error to find your boundaries and also find the right places where you can express yourself, because I learned that there are places that you can't just be yourself, you have to be calibrated, because not everyone will accept you the way you are. This was a huge thing for me, like living 10 years in the West and then coming back to a small village in Lebanon. There's a lot of adjustments that need to happen. But
But
I
but
would say,
but
yeah,
but you mentioned it now multiple times. Validated. See, this is the point. Maybe you have to let go. Yes,
what's that?
there's this concept of validated, or you mean,
Validation.
yeah, the validation
Yeah.
has to come from yourself and not okay. And I have the same scenario. I can't mean, but I don't want to hide myself only because the other don't get it. So that maybe I rather don't be with them than give up and just calibrate or adapt for what? I mean, I did this in my past and it didn't bring me anything. So now it's the other way.
Yeah.
If they don't get it or if their other problem is this, then maybe then I don't want to spend time with them. I have to mention, yeah, I have to
Yeah, that's
mention.
actually a great point. It's not about seeking validation from someone.
Yes,
Um, I think it's like your tribe is just a way to confirm, or like to, it just feels like you're with the right people. That's the goal of the tribe. Like, you got to find your own tribe because that helps you learn more about yourself. I think, yeah, I was wrong to say validation because that's not really what I got from finding my tribe. Um, and I don't have a tribe right now. Like, I was lucky to meet some people where I was able to truly be myself to the biggest extent of my life. And that taught me so many things about myself. Like, being with those people, I learned so many things about myself. And that's really the point of it. Like, being with your tribe helps you because the process of expressing yourself can teach you so much about yourself and your potential, and like what you can be and what you don't want to be, what you want to be, all of these things. Uh, your tribe can give you that space for you to explore those things. and and that's what I meant by, validation. It's more like a confirmation of your identity, or like who you are becoming, because I
so
don't like
a
to define.
self-validation, a self of to say
Yeah,
that's what I want to be and that's who I
yeah,
am.
exactly. It's coming yourself, from yourself. It's not coming from the outside. Yeah.
Now that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
okay, so um, I think we have to come to an end. You have something to say because we have this time limit. Uh,
Yeah.
you have to something to say, maybe a good advice. I mean, I will start and say, yeah, be yourself and find yourself, and that's important, and be more cautious with who you want to start something.
Absolutely. That's a great takeaway. Yeah, nothing for me to add. It's just, I appreciate the depth of these conversations, and it's very reflective. Like all these topics makes you kind of reflect on your own journey. And yeah, anyone who's listening, if they want to explore more of these topics, they can just let us know. We can dive a little bit deeper into this. Maybe we can get some other guests involved as well. I'm happy to join next time for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Maybe we should invite this lady who listened to our show. Maybe we should have this kind of talk with her. It's just an idea, but it could be also something. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bring my romantic partner on this podcast, no.
Okay. That's your it's your choice.
He's off limits because I'm pretty protective of
Yeah, but I mean, this is just a conversation. We're not talking about something else here. Come on.
uh
That's
yeah,
the
no.
that's the whole how the whole thing started with me, that I asked this woman, she want to come on my podcast. She said no, but they still keep talking.
She might as well have been a guest,
No. Okay,
no, I have nothing against the idea, but it's just
I
I
get it.
I really want to hear from your listeners, if there's anyone out there who's like those people who shared questions, like follow-up comments about our last episode. I really want to hear from those people.
Maybe we can talk with Nicole. She's now also in a new relationship. Maybe she's now blooming to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can do some gossip as well.
I don't know. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, listeners. Until next time. Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye.